people, them. Black
Yes.
Eyes TV in the house, first and foremost, with the first live show
Yeah.
with my co-host, Terry Riggs, in the place. Talk to them, Terry.
Yes, people. Yes, it's a great day today. This is New Beginnings, and this is Black Eyes TV 7. This is a new thing that's coming from the UK, and we're going to talk about loads of things, and there's a lot of things to come. Now, today is going to be a great day because this is our first time. If there's any problems, just holler. Any information you need to hear, just give us a call, give us any forms of information, message us, comment us, or subscribe to us. But please, people, you need to share this link so we can talk, because we have a notorious guy that's going to give us the information that we need, especially in the UK, as we need to understand our mindsets and the way things are in life at this precise moment, as we are indoctrinating the beginning of birth. Anyway, so I just wanted to break down one thing for you, is that we are using this Black Eyes TV 7 as our form of media. So we need people to come and donate and help out in every situation that we're trying to do, as we are called the New Beginnings, a collective of people in different diasporas to come together, to work together, and able to build. This is why we're trying to connect with people outside the UK, people like we have today, which his name is Cochise. How are you doing, Mr. Cochise?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So give us a little breakdown on what you're about and what you do.
What am I about? I'm about many things, but the short answer is I study health and wellness probably from a different perspective. I did produce my first film, which many people know me for, Urban Kryptonite, along with Tahuti Ma'ara and Saladin Assad, who was the director of the film, did a great job. We also co-produced Full Body Detox, the movie, which many people haven't seen. I'll probably start making that more available. We've been concentrating on Urban Kryptonite. So, and Urban Kryptonite is a movie that basically covers many of the adverse health conditions that we suffer from as a people worldwide, African diasporans. So you have these different movies, and these different movies, like Super Size Me, Forks Over Knives, Vegucated, these different movies never give you the information from an African perspective, the things that affect people of color, African people principally. So we wanted to do that movie, and that movie has been a big success. It's still doing great until this day. And I've written about 6 or 7 books on health and wellness. Urban Kryptonite was first a book, and then it became a documentary. So the way I deliver it, I also played professional basketball for 16 years. So the way that I deliver it is I do a lot of experience-based things. I give you my perspective and coupled with the facts of the situation. So I try not to be a replica of anybody. Many people, you know, they like to ask about, are you familiar with this person? Are you familiar with that person? I'm familiar with most nearly all the healers and health and wellness scholars in the world, not just in the African community. But I like to bring my very own perspective, because I think that that's the uniqueness. Nobody wants to hear me repeat everything that Dr. Sebi says, or everything that Laila Africa says, or everything that Joel Wallach or Joel Furman, all these different people, Dick Gregory, all these people, they have their own perspective. I have my own perspective, which is pretty unique, considering that I've traveled to about 50 to 55 countries. I've resided in about 20 of those countries studying health and wellness. And this is why I'm able, I feel like I'm never running out of information to give, because frankly, we need it, to be honest with you. And what I found, which is why I approach this thing the way I approach it, is that we have to give it to people where they are. You can't be too scientific. Being too scientific, you're gonna lose people. You can't come and try to give a science class to people. That's for people that are up there. Now, if you think about the people that are up there, you're looking at a small percentage of individuals as opposed to the ones you could impact. So you may only impact 3 to 5% when you could be impacting 95%. And so this is why a lot of my things are life related. They're very real and they're very doable. You have to give people things that are actionable that they can use right away. And so that's why I deliver the message. Sometimes I deliver it in the language that you can understand, which may include profanity, but dealing with you guys, I'm quite sure that there's nothing that you haven't heard. You just had Sarai Sunseti in England. So I know that there's nothing you never heard. And Sarai's from Detroit, the same place I'm from. So I'm a little, I tend to be direct, but, you know, still trying to understand where you're coming from. No chastising of anyone, understanding that everybody comes from different directions, but the goal is to meet everybody at one place, to bring everybody to one place at their own pace, not with me forcing you.
Okay. So what do you think, like, since you came from the last time you came to the UK and Detroit, do you see similarities or do you see anything that we can negotiate or work together in that forms of what you've learned in the States and what you kind of learned from the UK so far, or even just say the Europe in itself?
Can we work together? Is that what you're saying?
No, in the formats that understanding like how people in forms of living and mindset in the States, like as in Detroit, right? And in the format of how what you've seen so far in the UK.
Oh yeah, I think it's, well, people of African descendants, people of color, what I realize is that it's the same story no matter where you go. It may be a different language, but it's usually the same story, okay? And usually we are people of compassion. We're very loving to our fault, which has gotten us in the situation that we're in. But we can't help ourselves. We're very passionate about the things that we do. And one of the things that we are noted for, even in England, even in the United States, even in República Dominicana, where I live, what you see is that we hold on to traditions, and to a fault, because many of those traditions, I'm talking about dietary traditions, a lot of the things that we do, and even economical traditions, a lot of the things that we do, they don't necessarily serve us. They're not beneficial, but because they were passed down to us, we use those. We continue to use those things, even though these things don't serve us. So I would say that we very much can work together because we're all similar. We're all similar. We're just different places. You know, why? How am I able to talk to you and Brother Rich right now, and we still have the same, you know, it's almost like you are here in Detroit, or it's like I knew you before, because we all have similarities, all of us. Doesn't matter the length. Now, it may be different for you to come and speak to some of my people in the Dominican Republic because you don't speak Spanish and they don't really speak English, but it's an understanding. It is, there are some cultural similarities, very much so. So I guess they would be more like Jamaicans, the DR, because it's the island thing, you know, so a little bit different, but they're still.
Because you're from like Dominica, right? It's, you see, in the Caribbean islands, because they're more free, and sometimes they've got more of like the fresh fruits, the fresh water, and the fresh thing. The living over there and living in Detroit, how do you find it?
Comparing the Dominican Republic to Detroit? Yeah. It's night and day, man. You feel much better. You got to understand, you're in the sun 24/7. Now, we're sun beings. So you're in the sun all the time. I run, I do everything almost in the sun, except when it's time for the gym. So when you're in the sun, you're going to naturally feel better because the sun has different properties that have been known to cure seasonal depression, okay? So when you don't have enough sun, and I heard that a lot of you guys, I heard that England does not have a lot of sun. They don't get a lot of sun over there. So
more rain.
When you don't get a lot of sun, you're going to feel a certain way. Not to mention your health. The sun has an impact on cholesterol. So it turns that cholesterol into usable vitamin D. So from all the animal products that people have been consuming, this is why our ancestors could get away with, that were brought through the transatlantic slave trade or ones that was already here. They can get away with eating some of the meats and the foods that they were eating, number one, because it was much more organic, but number two, because they work 18-hour days. So they needed that cholesterol. They needed those calories to keep them going. So they burn it off. But you and I, located in England, you located in Detroit, the weather is not friendly enough for us to be out. And then the jobs are different. The jobs are more sedentary. We're sitting down right now. Our ancestors probably wouldn't be sitting down until the night because they're working as much as they're working.
Cool.
So it's the air is fresh. I'm off the water. You have a sense of freedom. You got access to coconut, guanabana. How do you say guanabana in soursop? Soursop. Yeah. You got everything that you need. A lot of the things that cure cancer that are natural there, that noni fruits. So you have all these different things that it would cost you 10 cents. I don't know how you say 10 cents in
like 10 pence.
Yeah, 10 pence or 5 pence. Yeah, something like that. Little, I mean, that's nothing. And you can get as you can get a lot. So the access to that and understanding that not everybody there has cars. So everybody's moving by their feet. They're walking. They're active. Mm-hmm. So not only walking, they're active, they're in the sun as well. And also, we don't have really, we have hot water there, but nobody really has running hot water in their house. So everything is cold water, and that preserves you. The cold water preserves you because you're in the sun all day and you're taking those cold, and it wakes you up in the morning. You got to get in that bathtub, or and we're showering out of buckets, so you take it and you're dumping it over you, or you may have a shower that runs down, but you can't waste your water. So the major thing that I do love about that is everything is efficient. That means that you can't cook for leftovers. We don't cook for leftovers because the power goes out. So we can't afford for that food to spoil. So we do more with less. Yes, there's rice and beans every day that we have to eat, plátanos, plantains. There's all these different things that we consume, but all in all, it's still fresh, it's still nutritious, and we're very efficient. So this is why I kind of laugh, and I'm going on, but I laugh when people say rice is bad. Well, it depends on how is rice bad when, if you look at the entire world, let's include Africa, because Africa is a part of this, the Caribbean, Asia, over 60 to 70% of the world's primary staple in food is rice. Rice. Mm-hmm. So if we're going off of that, and the creator is just and equal, why would the creator make 70% of the world's food be rice, a main staple? Why would you make that a main staple and knowing that it's going to harm people? So rice is not bad. It's how we consume the rice, what we put, salt, butter, oil, all these different things. How can Japan consume all this rice every day? They consume rice every day, a couple of times a day, but the difference is that they're the #1 lived culture in the world right now. So if rice was bad, then they would be sick. And I know they're different, but it's still a complex, it's still a carbohydrate that could cause potential problems depending upon how much you're eating and how it's prepared.
Yeah. So let's just get to certain points. You've been talking about a lot of health.
Very. Listen, I just want to stop everyone right now, and to our viewing audience, I just want to remind them this is the first Black Eyes TV show that we're doing on health. The name of this show is Nutritional Indoctrination from Birth. We got Cochise Tarak-saa on the show. I'm co-hosting with my man MrRiggs from HKTH Knowledge and Travels, and we're just chopping it up right now about the health paradigm.
Sorry, Richie.
And about how we're living. Continue on, Terry.
Sorry about that, but it's about the new beginnings. It's not the Knowledge and Travels. That's just a part of the system.
New beginnings, most definitely.
It's about the new beginnings and having people coming together. The Knowledge and Travels is the tour guide stuff that we do when we tour people around the and the UK. So just to break that down very quickly. But Cochise, I just wanted to go in that history, where it's still in that part of that history paradigm. And I wanted to go and have an understanding on your formats of like people who have kind of mentored you or who have inspired you in that form of health, as well as in the forms of, because you was an athlete. So I wanted to see that kindly.
Who has inspired me?
Yeah. In the form, in the forms of sport, and then in the forms of health.
In the forms of sport. Who inspired me in the forms of sport? I like many people because I went to the university in Chicago. Obviously, Michael Jordan was impactful there in Chicago. I was there for 5 years. So Michael Jordan was impactful. I didn't necessarily I liked so many different athletes. I liked winners principally because I could study their patterns, what they were doing, the things that they do. See, most people would see a billionaire or a millionaire and they would say, "Ooh, that's a millionaire or that's a billionaire." But I would look at them and say, it's amazing that they're billionaires, but I'm trying to figure out what is it that they did? What's their thought process? Because I know, because I'm on that journey, I'm on that path, and I know even back then that it's a certain thought process that you have to possess, and you're not a normal person thinking wise when you achieve these certain levels of fame or these certain levels of economic security. So I'm always looking at the greatest people in the world. Those were more so I used to read a lot of different books on thinking and metaphysics and achievement. And one of my favorite books, I know I'm veering off, but I need to say this. One of my favorite books is Talent is Overrated. That's a very good book. And also another book, Psycho-Cybernetics. Okay. Those two books were very pivotal for me because it showed me the importance of no matter what field you're in, people are going to react to you according to how basically there are two of you, there are two selves. You see yourself in terms of how you see yourself in the mirror, but you also see yourself in terms of what your subconscious sees yourself as. So it's two different individuals that you.
Would you say you're more on that thing of the mindset of how people think of how to become that millionaire than someone just looking at the format of he's a millionaire, he's got loads of cash? Do you get what I'm saying?
You can't. I'm not surface based. Most people are surface based, and you can't get anywhere being surface based. You know what I mean?
So that it comes from that form of self understanding as being a form of a spectator and able to project on what motivates that person to do what they do.
Correct.
In that format? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So like on that perspective, what led you from that sports time, right, to going into the forms of mindset and health?
Well, playing sports, you have to have the mindset if you want to win. So I had to have that because I won 13 championships while I was playing professional and 3 MVPs. So you had to have the right mindset. But it was an injury that made me apply that. It was an injury where I was out for 2 years. And during that time of that injury is when I started to put all the health information that I was learning with the mindset, because doctors said that I would never play again. And through different surgeries, I had 5 surgeries in 1 year on my foot. And they had to put a prosthetic piece in my toe, which nobody has ever seen with ever in professional sports, but I was able to do it. So I kind of made history in that way, but it was the mindset that because they wanted to cut my foot off. My foot was infected badly. And so I just used all the information that I learned. I kept using that to help to heal myself, and not only to heal myself, but to come back and play when pretty much all doctors thought it was literally impossible to do. So from there, I combined I used everything that I learned from, and I need to say this, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I was mentored by a guy named Dr. Joel Wallach, who was a veterinarian, an agriculturalist, and what do you call those doctors? A naturopath. And he's the one that really got me. I was able to study on there for 2-3 years, and he taught me that nutrition, anybody that dies of natural causes dies of nutritional deficiency diseases. And after doing lectures with him and traveling, then I got into the Dr. Sabi's of the world, Laila Africa's, all these different people. And I just started pulling and learning from everybody, but it was my experiences living in Beirut, Lebanon, living in Istanbul, Turkey, living in Cologne, Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, living in Klagenfurt, Austria, living in all these different countries, all these different places, traveling to Tahiti, traveling to Venezuela, living in Venezuela, all these different places, Costa Rica, where you have some of the longest lived people in the world, Italy, all these spots, man, and just looking at people and watching what they eat, what they do.
So it comes like you had a good time on the journey.
You said what?
I said it sounds like you had a good time journey through Europe.
Oh man, I had Germany. I mean, the journey through Europe was awesome, man. The whole travel was great. Plus, I was playing ball, so it was lovely, man. It was lovely.
So, in the formats that like these countries that you've gone to, how did you cope when like there's a few Afro people from other countries coming into these European countries, but you know some of these countries they're very low in substance of foods for African diaspora people. So I always want to know, how did you cope within like places like Germany?
Well, you have to eat. Well, let's be realistic, and this is why this is what I mean by simplicity with the people. I'm not gonna starve. No, I'm gonna eat what's available. You know what I mean? We're still eating. I mean, we eat what we want to now. We're still able to live a decent life. But all in all, I kept it very simple during that time, and I didn't have the knowledge that I had then that I have now. But I kept it basic. I would do the baked chicken. I would do Turkish donors. Sometimes the donor rolls. I would do those. I did corn. Obviously, you do French fries and stuff like that. I've never been a smoker or a drinker, so I was always okay with that. But the good thing that I did do is, believe it or not, I met a few sisters that were some from the Congo, and then some that were Ghana. Like the dad was from Ghana, the mother was German, or the dad was from Senegal, the mother was German. So I still got that. I never missed a beat with that, bro. I still great, you know.
So you kind of enjoyed it.
But and the food.
So like with the Urban Kryptonite, as we normally that's how we kind of got to know you, and now you become one of our brothers, and we're connecting and bonding. But I want to know what put you into that form of the Urban Kryptonite, because we've seen you on the DVDs, but what began that interest to connect with people like Tahuti and Saladin?
The travels around the world and going to these different places and just looking and saying, why are we the sickest people all the time? And we're such a small, minute portion of the population. Why do we have all the diseases? And the basic answer is obviously we're eating outside of our element. We're eating outside of continental Africa, and the people in the Caribbean, they have a closer link to Africa because they hold a lot of traditions, but they also have the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, as you alluded to. So I was wondering, like, everywhere I go, we have these issues in all these different countries. Somebody's got diabetes, somebody's got high blood pressure. It doesn't matter if they from continental Africa. It doesn't matter if they from the Dominican Republic. It doesn't matter. They have these issues. These issues will follow them. And so what I realized is that it was the traditions, but it was basically what we were taught, man. We were taught to eat a certain way. Somehow we missed what our ancestors were used to do. And maybe it's because of the lack of the access to these foods and to these. Now we have to go and depend on other people to give us the food. When you depend on other people to give you the food, you have to take what's there. It's not yours. So we learn to make the best out of scraps. And from there, because we're eating all this processed chemical stuff, we continue. So you're not thinking straight, because a chemical is a chemical. It doesn't matter if it's cocaine or if it's aspartame that's in pop, still chemicals. It's all the same. It's all, some just may take a longer time, but it's still chemicals. It's still affecting your thought process.
All right, just for a second though, people out there, I would love you to able to share this link, because this is vital information. We need to share. right? This is a new beginning. This is a new day. This is a new era, right? And this is Black Eyes TV 7. And Brother Rich, he needs your help. He needs you to subscribe, and he needs you upon watching and learning, because there's a lot of events that the new beginning is going to have. We got the Queen of Fua coming on the 14th. So listen out for that. Yeah, she'll be coming to the station. She'll be coming with her jewels and her information. We're going to have African Liberation Day. They're going to be announcing a whole heap of stuff. Richie, who's the guy's name again? Is it Anthony Broder?
Anthony Broder, that's right. World
Anthony Broder.
renowned.
He's going to be coming down on the 28th and the 29th. So you need to keep on watching, keep on this link, because there's going to be so much information. We even got the from the Black and Moors, from Tudor England, Oyinka. We're going to be interviewing him. We've got a whole heap of other interviews coming along, right? So please share this link. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is a new beginning. We're trying to work together. We're trying to join together, and we're trying to as one nation. So the only way we can do this, and the only way we can unite, especially if we've got a whole heap of products coming soon. And even our brother over here has products himself, which is coming to the UK. Because so if you come onto our adventure, we can bring Cochise live to you. Do you understand, people? So you want this, you've got to help us to get to where we need to be. So people, I love you lots, but let's hear more information from Cochise. So brother, Cochise, now we're going back into this topic of what we came up for, the nutrition indoctrine from birth. Now, we want to do a breakdown from that mindset from when we was a child to when we become an adult, and why our thought process is the way it is. Can you hear me, Cochise?
Yeah. So if you think about, let's come back. Let's start from now and then work back. If you look at today, we're eating certain foods, and we're used to and we're accustomed to eating certain foods. Now, when you become accustomed to eating certain foods, see, it's tougher to unlearn something than to learn something. So already we're fighting a battle. If you hear me come and say, listen, you need to try this food right here. You need to try that food. Now I'm asking you to undo 20 to 25 to 30, 35, 40 years of what you've been taught by your parents, nutritionally speaking, when you're so accustomed to it. Now, it's not that you don't want or that you don't understand that you need to do better, but you're addicted here. I said earlier, a chemical is a chemical. So when you're younger, as opposed to getting those fresh whole foods, you're giving junk food. And you're not giving junk food because your parents don't like you or they're trying to harm you. It's not that. They're operating from their paradigm of thought. So it's not. So basically what happens is most of our parents have failed to establish what I spoke to you yesterday about is the nutritional legacy. So you go all of these years and you have chemicals built up, by the way. These chemicals are building up. You eat packaged juice or bottled juice, packaged foods, canned milk, all of this stuff, because even some mothers, they may not be lactating to breastfeed, which is probably a big reason for that is the diet, of course, but they're not lactating or they just don't want to breastfeed. So now you're getting dug, that hole is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Why is it getting deeper? Because you're stacking chemicals on top of chemicals. And then we wonder why we had this ADD and all these different things. And you're eating out of a can. Now, why is it critical about a can? What is so important about a can? Number one, to take from a can means that there's no frequency. Because a can, when somebody goes to jail in the United States, they say, where is he? Oh, he's in a can. So that means that that's imprisoned food. That's food that's in prison. Any man that's in jail has a low, he can try to vibrate, but he's not free. And if he's not free, then he's going to be on a lower frequency because he's going to be somewhat depressed. He's not going to be himself because he's not free to roam. Man wants to explore. People want to grow. People are dynamic. They want to grow each and every day. Whether they say it or not, they want to grow. So they want the best that life can offer them. So that food, which is now canned, cannot grow. It will not grow because it's void of enzymes. So not only is it void of enzymes and it's in the can and the frequency is low, but now it's an aluminum can. And guess what? That aluminum goes into your food. Now, what do? You consume that aluminum. Now, what's the cause of many of these illnesses that children are having? It's aluminum poisoning. It's extra aluminum. Now, nobody has ever thought, man, these canned foods, all of this stuff that we're consuming, what's going on? As an electric being, people that are familiar with Dr. Sabi, you hear him always say electric beings. But as an electric being, you need things to keep your frequency high. And if you don't have those things, you're going to operate from a lower vibration. See, that's the thing. We're higher vibrational people, even coming way back from the years of Kemet. We're high vibration. How do we build all those things that we built? You can't do that eating garbage, having a low vibration. You have to have a high vibration. See, even the people of Kemet, they used honey. Why did they use honey? Honey was great for skin. All of those scrapes and burns and all those things from working on the pyramids, you have a lot of injuries. So honey was one of those things that they took because it also has B vitamins. It has many other things. It's soothing, but they also did fenugreek. They also did acacia. They also did, there's another one that I'm missing. Oh, hibiscus. So they drunk hibiscus, they used hibiscus. So these are all things that we have gotten away from. If you ask the average Black person today, you ever had any hibiscus juice, especially in the United States, they don't know what that is. Now, you told me that you were a part of Kemet, but you don't know what hibiscus is. So how are you a part of Kemet if you're not a part of Kemet in the diet? So you have to be a part in the diet. It's the diet that's going to bring you to the other things because you need this frequency to be up here. So there is no canned foods. There can be no canned foods. And this is some of the things that we brought up on because it's cheap, it's affordable. Now we're coming back to this whole economic situation. We felt that we almost had to do the canned stuff because we need to survive, at least in the United States. Or if you're on the government assistance, government giving you the canned stuff. They're not giving you the super healthy stuff. They're giving it to you like, here, take that slop. You just live off of that. And basically, most of us who come from single parent homes, this is how a lot of us, we have to grow up. So it's not necessarily our fault. And I wouldn't even say that it's our parents' fault, but it is our responsibility. It may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. So you get indoctrinated from this way of eating. Now, when you get older, you know what's going to happen? You're going to give your kids the same stuff because that's how you grow up. How can you tell somebody how to do something that you never did or that you've never done? You can't do it. So now you, just like your parent, was operating on the same paradigm. And so now you're going to give your kids this instead of learning or just being fortunate enough to learn and say, oh, wow, this is clean eating right here. The moment you say, oh, wow, this is clean eating, and you start learning and you start to incorporate this stuff into your diet, now you begin the nutritional legacy piece. Because the nutritional legacy, what that's going to do is you're going to break, quote unquote, genetic diseases. It's not that a disease, most diseases are not genetic. I would say 90% of diseases are not genetic, but they are cultural. So that means if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same thing that your mother or your father got. But if you go on a clean diet and they were eating a certain way and they got diabetes, I don't like to use the word impossible, but it's going to be highly unlikely that you would get diabetes if you eat a certain way. That's just what it is. Now, some things may be triggered by different things, you know, like the sickle cell or something like that. But all in all, if you make that decision to establish a nutritional legacy, when you're gone, now that your kids have this information, when they get older, what are they going to do? They're going to give that to their children because that's the paradigm. Usually people don't go backwards. A vegan or a vegetarian, if they're eating that way and it's giving them results, and they're usually not going to veer off and teach their kids something that's not going to work. So they're going to stick with that. Just like we stick with the things that we know, and then they may not work, a person that's successful eating is going to stick with that as well. So from the time that you're young until you're older. Now you're indoctrinated with all of this way of life, all this eating, and it affects your performance. Cognitively, it affects your performance. So you can't think straight. So a lot of the decisions you make are really, it's almost like you're not sober. It's like you're high until you get cleaned up for your diet. So all of the decisions you made, all the things that you've done, of course, you have to atone for them. But all in all, it's really the chemicals that's leading you, that's here on your brain, because you're not thinking clearly at all.
Yeah, but don't you think sometimes, you know, because of the system of the paradigm that we live in, which sometimes if we don't have that sufficient amount of money, how, you know, sometimes it's very hard to go into that form of eating right, and because of people mindsets, don't you think it's very difficult to come out of that situation?
I'll tell you this. What did Jesse Jackson say? You guys know who Jesse Jackson is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't mean to quote him because he's not, it's not like he's a true pillar. I mean, a lot of people don't like Jesse Jackson, but
I know.
a lot of us, so I'm not trying to quote him like that, but no matter who tells the truth, I still have to at least say what it is.
Yeah. We just inject the positive things that we can get from the people.
Yeah. Detroit, you just had Sarah Seti there. He would tell you this. Detroit for many years has been either #1 in America in crime or most dangerous city. That's just what it is. And I can tell you that the mindset of most people is that they're going to pay. We're coming back to mindset. Always remember this.
Mm-hmm.
People, usually our people, many of our people, they'll pay for what they want and they'll beg for what they need. So what that means is you can find the money to pay for $200 for Michael Jordan shoes, but you can't find the money to buy some seedless grapes that cost $4 for 1 kilo. You understand? So what I'm essentially saying is that we'll pay for what we find value in. So my job, Dr. Sebi did a great job of this because he made it cool the way that he delivered information. My job is to make this stuff be attractive for you so that you'll see that it's value and you'll say, you know what? I'm not going to get those shoes. This is why you have to be, this is why I can't just come and give you information and just throw all this stuff out. Eat this, eat that, eat this. Because you have to be a psychologist and a psychiatrist for our people to undo so many of the things that has happened to them. So the reason that they'll pay for these clothes, these shoes, these watches is because they think that it's going to give them more value. They think, oh, I got on these shoes, this watch costs $500. Now I'm more valuable, even though that watch could get stolen tomorrow. So are you still valuable after the watch got stolen? So we have to make it so that they understand that the food is really what's going to give you, that's what's going to make you more valuable, because it's going to keep you around, it's going to keep you productive. And it's going to, you're going to be an example to other people, looking youthful, strong, vitality, all those things. That's what the ancestors had, man. The ancestors could outwork us. Today, they could easily outwork us, man. Some of our grandparents, 70, 80 years old, we could go out in the field with them today, and they would be 80 years old, 70 years old, and they will outwork us. We won't last 2 hours maybe in the sun. I've seen it. My grandfather, 83, 84, he steals like a butcher. He still does all this stuff, but guess what he does? And he lives in the South of the United States, has his own garden, eggplants, tomatoes. He don't eat from the store. He eats meat, but he eats the meat that they from the slaughterhouse right there. So it's a total different way of living. And so we always have to keep in mind, you behave in the present, keeping the understanding or the good things that you can use from those that have come before you. Not all of them, because other thing we got to be honest about. Not everything that Kemet and our ancestors did was perfect. So, but you got to use. See, that's the other thing. We act like they didn't make any mistakes. They're humans just like we were. You know, I know people get off into that. Some of our people get up to the alien talk and all the reptilians, and I don't do that. But what I will say is that to be able to take what we have to be able to take what we can take. So yes, it is a challenge, but People pay for what they want, brother. People pay for what they want. Understand this. It usually doesn't cost a lot. Listen, what's wrong? Think about this. Let's go to the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, you're not going to see a super big variety of food. You're not going to see people eat beans and rice almost every day, at least in the Dominican Republic. That's what I know. And Jamaica can't be too far off. You might eat some curry, you may eat ackee, whatever, but it's not going to be a big variety of changes of things that you're going to be eating. So you have to be able to be okay with eating some of the same things every day. You can eat beans every day. You can just switch to beans. That doesn't cost. You can buy beans in bulk, man. You don't have to go and try to eat a steak. Our problem is you want to eat a steak every day. Well, a steak costs money. You want to eat chicken every day. Well, chicken costs money. You're eating the wrong things anyway. And those wrong things, you're being taxed for those wrong things.
Cochise, let me ask a quick question, because a lot of people, because out there, right, some people don't understand that format of meat. Because some people, is it all right to have small amounts of it, but able to detox it out? Or is it just cut meat out completely? Because, you know, like most of our ancestors, they if it goes far back, they still ate meat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always explain to people, number one, you have to get the leaner cuts of the meat. That's the first thing. The leaner cuts of the meat but once you start talking about steak and beef and all that, it's going to take longer to get through your system. Number one, because if you were to compare yourself with a lion or a tiger, you're looking at I think there's like 5 to 8 feet of intestines. Ours is like 20 feet. So that meat is going to go, they're meant to consume that. So that meat is going to go right through their system. But with 20 feet versus 5 feet of intestine, that means that, and our intestines is winding. So that means that this meat is going to just go slowly through and through and through. And you know what happens? Usually by the time you've eaten meat at night, and then you get up in the morning, you're going to eat some more meat. You have already eaten 2 to 3 times the meat. It's the excessive meat that does us in. And it's the way that we prepare the meat. You can't fry meat. You can't fry it consistently. I mean, of course, you could do what you want to do, and you can consume some, maybe sometimes if that's what you like to do, if that's what but understand, because people love to holler that protein thing. Oh, I'm going to get my protein from the meat. Mm-hmm. When you eat meat.
Yeah. Okay. But you see, when it comes to meat and protein, a lot of people don't understand what protein is. When I say protein to you, what does it mean to you?
It means nothing, to be honest with you. But it means primary source, if you want to go off of that. The primary source, protein, the Greek word proteus. So it means primary source. But primary source of what? You understand what I'm telling you? So you're going to tell me that a gorilla, all these different animals that are consuming this, that are big, cut, and strong, are they not getting protein? You're going to tell me that they're not getting protein. So what we got to understand is that protein is not what you think that it is. It's not as important. It's important because it rebuilds and repairs tissues. But the thing is that the meat, once you cook the meat and the chemical structure has changed, how can that, and first of all, and by the way, that's foreign DNA. Meat is foreign DNA. So you're taking the DNA of an animal and the cholesterol, which is what shoots our cholesterol up, and you putting it in your body, and you're asking that. It's cooked. It's not raw. If it was raw, it'd be a little bit different, but it's cooked, and you're asking that to be assimilated. You're asking your body to assimilate foreign DNA. From a technical aspect, that's a virus, and you're putting that virus into your body. Your body can't assimilate that because it wasn't made to assimilate that. Number one, because it's already cooked. Number two, most people eat burnt meat, which is a big problem. That's just the cause of the cancer right there. But it's the amount of meat that you're eating. You asked me a question earlier about should we do the meat in a small portions? Absolutely. You don't really need that much meat. Think about it. When you go, y'all got KFC there, Kentucky Fried Chicken? You have that there?
Yeah, and they make you try the whole bucket.
Correct. That's exactly right. So most people, so now you coming out, who needs 5 pieces of chicken in one sitting? Who needs that? But you're going to eat it because you bought it, and you're going to get biscuits, and you're probably going to get a side. Who needs that? And I promise you, that's not going to be your only meal of the day. You're going to have eaten another meal. So now you have 2 or 3 meals on your stomach before one can be digested. And what usually happens is you get sleepy, and that's the body letting you know, listen, you have put the wrong thing in me. So because you put the wrong thing in me, I've got to shut down because it's too much work for me to assimilate and to digest. So the body just says, you know what? Think about when you put gas in a car, does the car cut off? Does the car cut off when you put gas in it?
Nope.
Not at
No,
all.
of course not. So your body is not supposed to shut down when you put food in it. But that's the signal to let you know that you're putting the wrong things in, principally too much meat, too much dairy, too much sugar, because it's too much work to break down, especially sugar, because now that sugars, the organs are pulling water from all these, it takes water from all these different organs just to break all this stuff down. And then that meat is going to sit in there God knows how long. You need bioavailable. That's what made Sebi's recommendation so great, because that's bioavailable things that the body can absorb. But principally herbs and fruits and vegetables, especially the juice of fruits and vegetables, or the fiber, is what the body can absorb. That's what makes it eat something. Who's this calling me?
Do you believe that it could be over alkaline?
Say that again.
I said, like with Sebi and his alkaline diets, do you believe that you can be over alkaline? Because, in life, a lot of things is in forms of balance.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that have gone from one extreme goes into another extreme. So then, like, they've cut out all the bad stuff, but they've gone highly in the good stuff. Can it still affect them in that way?
You ever heard of alkaline water? Have you heard of alkaline water, Terry?
Alkaline water?
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that people usually ask me is, hey, I'm drinking this alkaline water. And what I explain to people is, from my knowledge, from my opinion, from what I've studied, alkaline, the trouble with alkaline water is, if your diet is acidic, if you're eating meat and you're drinking milk and you're doing all that, alkaline water is cool. But here's the problem. Alkaline water, if your diet is, if you're already eating clean, you probably don't need that much alkaline water, because alkaline water neutralizes your stomach acid. It neutralizes the hydrochloric acid. And you need that stomach acid to do what? To break down and digest food. Now, if you have no stomach acid to digest the foods that you have, you're going to have food that's going to sit in your stomach and not be broken down. And it's going to ferment, which is going to further cause problems for you. So I don't believe in going excessively or overly alkaline. I do believe that when you have a disease, you have to go over alkaline. When you're trying to heal yourself, you have to. It's non-negotiable. You have to do that to get back, because you need drastic measures to get back. You can't come back casually. It's like when I explain to people, when people say, well, you know what? I'm consulting people, and they say, you know what? Well, I need to eat me a piece of chicken at least once or twice a week. And my thing to them is, listen, do a person that has, if you caught HIV or AIDS from somebody, would you say, I need to go and sleep with them once or twice a week so I can wean myself from them? That's what it's like for a person that catches a disease and they still want to eat these certain things. Now, I understand that it's the chemicals talking. This is what we're coming back to, the indoctrination. Even when we sick, we still want to eat that BS. We still want to eat bullshit. You still want to eat, you know that your leg can get cut off from diabetes, but you still want to eat ice cream, even though you know you're not supposed to have that. That's a chemical talking, man. That's a drug. That's why sugar is the most important. It's probably the most potent drug. It's more potent than cocaine. So understand that we have these issues because of these chemicals, man.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, listen, Terry, let me just interject. One of the things that me and you, Cochise, did think about extensively was how much it affects the cognitive thinking process. you know, when we spoke before. And I think this is a point that people really need to take on board, because I mean, right now there's a big drive on reading and knowing your history and all these kinds of things about your ancestors. But again, something I've had to deal with in my own personal life and understanding is whatever cylinders I think I'm firing on right now can be tenfold if you just address some of these aspects of your diet. So I think that's a major thing I want people to take away, that whatever you're trying to learn in your secular everyday life can only be increased in efficiency if you deal with these issues of what you drink, what you consume, how often you consume it. And one more thing I wanted you to just speak on very quickly. You mentioned it about burnt food in relation to giving cancer. Just explain to the people a little bit about that before we just move into the final segment, because I know time's pushing. Black Eyes TV, once again, Cochise Tarak-saa in the house. Yeah, burnt food and how it relates to this cancer.
Okay, yeah. So burnt food, here's the issue. Most of us, when we cook chicken, we say, oh man, I like my chicken crispy. When you cook bacon, you like your bacon crispy. We like to have our food overdone, okay? So we'd rather have it. Think about a steak. When you eat a steak, you say, let me have my steak well done. Very rare. We don't, as people of color, we never take our steak bleeding. I don't know anybody that does that. Very rare. Not, it's probably some, but I've never taken my steak, and the people that I know, they've never taken a steak with blood coming out. It's something we don't do. So the reality is that burnt food has cancer-causing agents, free radicals called heterocyclic amines and acrylamides. Let me step aside for 1 second. Acrylamides, for all you people that drink coffee, acrylamides are in those coffee beans. When those coffee beans get cooked so much, they're in the coffee beans, which is why it's a danger for you to drink coffee every day. So acrylamides are free radicals that are often found in coffee beans, because when they're roasting those coffee beans, there's an issue there. Mostly all burnt or cooked or burnt foods, there's going to be acrylamides present. So what happens is when you consume these heterocyclic amines and acrylamides, what you're doing is you're asking the body, this is why barbecue is not good, especially consistently. A lot of people love barbecue. You can't have this burnt food because it's a free radical. And what a free radical wants to do is it wants to get in your body and it wants to age your cells. This is why people that smoke cigarettes and primarily cigarettes, but also that drink a lot, you look older faster because you're consuming free radicals. This is why there's no such thing as you eating a certain way. You're eating clean, but you're smoking cigarettes or you're constantly drinking, because it's the same thing as you eating terribly. It's going to be the same process because it's getting in your blood. So those heterocyclic amines, those burnt meats, and usually they like to go to where it's a lot of fatty tissue. And women, it's the breast, and men, it's the prostate. Why? Because the blood circulates. You want to know how can somebody get prostate? It's because everything is right here in the stomach, folks. Everything you do is 80% of the things that your illnesses is going to start in your stomach. So when those acrylamides get down here and they free radicals and they can't be broken down, you got to know that when you eat, pretty much most of your blood goes to your stomach because it needs to digest. Now, what does blood do? Blood circulates, and it's going to circulate to the prostate. It's going to circulate to the breast. It's going to circulate to the brain, throughout the entire body. And that's how these cancers get around. This is why it's crucial for your blood to be as clean as possible, because that blood, your body's, you're going to feel younger. You're going to look younger. This is why antioxidants are crucial. Herbs are crucial. All these things are crucial. And eating cleaner can only help you. It can never hurt you. Eating cleaner, clear your skin up, clear your thoughts up, as Brother Rich explained. You can't be timid talking. Listen, there's a block on your spirit, man. There's a block on your spirit if you can't think straight. The reason that it's suggested for you to consume these clean foods from the earth, the fresh vegetables, the fresh fruits, is because you got to realize if you're taking food from the earth, you're connecting with the earth. That's what you're doing. And when you're connecting with the earth, you open your mind up, because this is natural micronutrients. Always remember that word. Micronutrients is what you're going to get from fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. These micronutrients are rich vitamins and minerals. That's what micronutrients are, vitamins and minerals. So now you're putting that directly into the body. There's no cooking, there's no nothing. And the body's going to assimilate that easily. Why? Because when you die, most people, they get buried where? In the ground. You're going back where you came from. So all you're doing is what you're eating, what you are, to help replenish yourself. You can't, if you're eating out of a package is not what you are. A package is something from a laboratory. So that's not going to, it's an inorganic substance. It's not going to work for you. So doing this allows you, when you consume foods from the ground, now you're opened up to receive messages from the ancestors, to receive messages from the creator, so that you can effectively move and you can say, wow, that was a gut feeling, or something told me. Whenever you've acted, you usually act, you say, something told me to do that, but usually people ignore that. And that's either the ancestors talking to you, or that's your higher self having a conversation with you, what many people would call God. It's your higher self saying, you know what, this is what you need to do. And most people, we kind of ignore that. When you eat better, you tend to focus more on yourself, and you stay with your, what they call gut feelings. But as Dr. B said, Urban Kryptonite, you can't know what your gut feelings are because your gut is messed up from the food that you're eating. So it's clouded.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. It will totally affect your instinctual play, your cognitive thinking, all of these levels. And as I said, I think definitely people need to understand the knock-on effect.
Yeah, because
because
in basically it is understanding where a lot of people out here confused in the way the doctrine has been, and because it's kind of something that has been taught from birth, it's very hard to come out of a paradigm. It's like when I was explaining to someone the other day, is that like in England, there was a time when the roads never had cameras. Now that you got these young youth that are born now, in their form of belief, they believe that there's always have been cameras. Do you understand? And the youth of today don't understand that. So we don't have that kind of teaching when it comes to forms of health. I believe that we always fried chicken. Do you understand? Where there was a period of time where they might have been eating vegetables and they might be eating the right foods. So it's in their DNA that's been going on over and over and over and over again. And I'm just trying to break that down for people to get that kind of understanding where they can restart and reboot their system back up again.
You can restart and reboot. Obviously, one of the best things that you can do is the detox, detoxing the body. But let's just say because you touched on something that, what if people don't have the money? Again, I have to say this, and I always, I get a lot of people that, some guy asked me today, do I know who Dr. Sebi is? And, it's always funny because that's like asking Kobe Bryant, does he know who Michael Jordan is? You know what I mean? So the thing is, everybody knows who Sebi is. Sebi is a very special individual. So we naturally know him. But the thing, remember, Rich mentioned something about the spiritual and, reaching ancestors and, eating the best that you can eat to get there. The thing is that a lot of times we try to separate the convenient things. Well, it's convenient for me to study and study and try to learn the mysteries of Kemet without learning the diet. But the thing is that all that goes together. So when people contact me and they say, well, Dr. Sebi this, Dr. Sebi that, but I don't have any money to buy any cleanses. But my thing is, Dr. Sebi fasted for like 30 or 40 days. He didn't have no cleanses. Just stop eating. Now, you said that you follow Sebi, but you unwilling to do what Sebi did. And that's the thing. You can't separate those. So anybody that was really just serious, like, you know what? I want to lose weight. I want to start. If you don't have any money, drink you some water or drink you some fruit juice and just don't eat. Don't eat, or drink soups or eat soup. You don't have to do what Sebi. You don't have to do what Sebi did, because Sebi is a special guy. He's a different guy. But one thing, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned, it was somebody else I was mentioning to today, is that we tend to not move on things until there's pain associated with us. Once there's enough pain, we'll make a move. And What did Sabi tell you? If you know Sabi's story, Sabi told you that when he had an issue with getting an erection, he said, oh no, it's time to get this shit out of me, to figure this out. And that's exactly what he did. And so, unfortunately for a lot of us, we're unwilling to make moves until it may be too late. That's the thing. Sometimes it may be too late. But if you want to start cleansing yourself, if you say, you know what, if you feel in your heart that I don't have the money, even though I feel like everything is an investment, remember I told you, we got to make this stuff cool for our people. You got to know that the clothes you buy, that's nothing right there. Somebody could rob you tomorrow and those clothes are gone, man. But if you spend $50 or 50 quid or 100 quid, listen, even if you had to spend 2,000 quid, is 2,000 quid not enough for you to save your life? Is that not enough? Okay, I know that it's a lot, but I'm saying that what price tag? What's the price tag on saving your life or saving your health? Because guess what? If you are unwilling to pay now, you will pay later. That's how life works. You can't get away. This is the energy never dissipates. It never goes away. It just changes forms. So there's a level of congruency within the earth. Whatever you don't do now, you'll have to do later. If you sacrifice time now, say, I'm going to build my business. I'm going to build, what's the name of your group? New Era, right? New Beginning.
New Beginnings.
Yeah. I'm going to build New Beginning. And New Beginning grows to the point in 4 years, to the point to where, wow, you guys are getting 5,000, 10,000 quid per show, whatever. They're donating that. Guess what? It's because you decided to take the hit up front and build and put in the time. See, you can never not be rewarded for the things that you put in. That's called the law of compensation. This is why I feel like all of us should study metaphysics. It's the law of compensation. It's the law of inverse proportion. It's the law of reciprocity. All of these laws are the things that rule the world and supersede man-made laws. If you got to understand that man-made laws are always subsidiary. They're always a subsidiary of the universal laws. So you have to know that no matter what happens, you're never going to not be paid for whatever it is that you do. So if you make an investment in your health, you're going to be paid for that investment. And guess what? When you most need to be paid for it, that's when you're going to be paid. And the universe is God, Allah, Buddha, whatever name you have for it. The universe, the payment system of the universe has never failed anybody. You can't, it's impossible. It's impossible for you to not go unpaid. It's just impossible. So if you just want to say, you know what, I don't have the money. Okay. You know what? Usually the answer to a solution or the answer to a problem is within the problem. If you have a problem with diabetes, stop eating sweets. Your body's going to fall out. It's going to level. You don't need herbs for that. You don't need money for that. So usually it's the habit that's costing you. It's not a product that's costing you. It's the habit. So so you have to be deliberate in removing the habit. And that means taking small steps. See, that's why I say this is about psychology. You can't just tell somebody take something and then walk away. It don't work like that.
But when there's something that is a habit, right? But they don't know it's a habit in, like, let's say, for instance, cow's milk. Yeah, they've been brought up on cow's milk, so they see that it's nothing wrong with it. But they will continue to drink it because they think it's healthy. How would you get someone away from that? See,
here's the thing. I'm not here to get you away from it. That's one of the things. That's one of the issues that we have. We like to tell people that's bad for you. What I'm here to do is to change your perspective. All I can do is tell you this is what it does. You're going to make a decision if it's bad for you or not. But remember, I just explained to you, people move when they get pain. So after a couple of years, now that sister gets those fibroid tumors. Now she's ready to listen. Now it's like, oh, what can I do? Or if this brother gets prostate cancer, now he's ready to listen because he's got pain. But guess what? He warned the key to our success in terms of health is listening and being able to understand what are the body's signals. most of us are lactose intolerant. Us, along with the Ashkenazi Jews, are two of the biggest groups of people that are lactose intolerant. So when you're lactose intolerant, if you consume cheese or milk, most of us that consume cheese and milk, we either have flatulence, we pass gas, or we have stomach problems. There's something going on. That is your body telling you, I don't want this. That's what your body said. But if you don't know that, if you just like, yeah, I'm lactose intolerant, and you just eating and eating and eating, then you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. So it's like if somebody's breath is smelling or if their underarms is smelling, we think that that's normal for your underarms to smell when you sweat. That's your food coming out of you, dirty food, that's toxic food. You really shouldn't really need deodorant. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the reality.
Yeah, there was something you mentioned, I think, some time back when you was talking about when someone goes to the toilet and their number two drops down.
Yeah.
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 Give me a little quick insight on that one, because I just wanted to recollect on that.
Okay, so what that means is, remember, everything can be found in your stomach. The issues is really in your stomach. So you have to look at certain things when you are defecating, when you go to the bathroom. Number one, if your feces hits the bottom, that means that it's not enough fiber. You're probably consuming the wrong diet, because your fiber food is gonna float. But if it hits the ground, then that means that you're consuming some milk, some cheese, some dairy. You're consuming things, processed foods that are not good, because fiber floats. It makes your stuff float. Number two, as my man, doctor, this is a guy for your audience to look up. He is great, man. He was I had a conversation with him last year on the phone. Dr. Tim Morrow, okay? Tim Morrow. Yeah, Tim Morrow.
Can you find him on Google, yeah?
Huh?
Would you be able to find him on Google?
Yeah, Tim Morrow. Listen, he had prostate cancer at 44, 45 years old, and he beat that prostate cancer normally. He beat it naturally. And he had a daughter at 60-some years old, just to show you that his prostate cancer was gone. He's now 82 years old. So you tell me if that brother knew what he was talking about. But his main thing is, you got to clear your colon if you're going to heal from anything. And what he says is, when people tunnel eliminate, that means that when your feces go straight through without touching the walls of your colon, then that means that something is wrong. You're not eliminating the right way, because it's your colon print should be on your feces. The print, it's like circles. You should be able to see that. That means that it's scraping the walls and it's getting all of that trash out. The other thing is, if it's very smelly, that means that it's been in there. Remember that beef from 2-3 weeks ago? That's what that is, or whatever. It's not coming out as quick. As many times as you eat per day is as many times as you should defecate per day. Because if you eat, you got to get the trash out. You don't get the trash out, that means the trash is staying in. Remember, we said that the blood is always circulating. So if the trash is not going out, the blood is circulating trash throughout the body. And it may come out in the form of a pimple. It may try to come out in a pimple. It may come out as dandruff or acne or smelly under armpits. But that's not going to be enough to get all of that trash out, which is why it's important for people to work out, like I see you doing.
Okay. And like in the forms of like your the supplements that you're going to release, was there anything to do with the colons that you'll be releasing out?
Initially, my first 5 formulas are going to be, one is going to be a female multivitamin. The other one's going to be the female multivitamin that's going to nourish the breast, the sexual reproductive system, because a lot of women complain about ovaries, fibroids, thyroid. So I have something in there. No multivitamin on the market has that. So I learning from Tahuti and all these other people, and studying myself, you learn what is necessary. Just talking to people that watch my videos, things that I hear them need. A lot of women have issues with thyroids. A lot of women have issues with fibroids. So we're doing that. We have the women's multi, we have the men's multi with some great herbs that's going to help males with the prostate, and also sexual performance. The yohimbe, the black maca, the pygeum bark, The ginseng, we have a lot of different things in that. So we're looking at formulas between 10 to 15 herbs. And the reason why we put 10 to 15 herbs in is because you want to make sure. So for example, watermelon has vitamin C, but if I gave you a juice that had hibiscus, that had cayenne, that had watermelon, that had grapes, that had oranges, that had all these, now you're looking at 6 or 7 different forms of vitamin C. It's overpowering. You have no choice but to get the vitamin C. And that's the logic. That's the logic with what I'm doing here. We're not cutting corners. We're giving it totally vegan, 100% non-GMO, things bioavailable by the body. Also have a brain formula. Remember we talked about thinking. That's what we've been talking about this whole time, thinking. So we have to do a better job of guarding our brains. And the best way to guard your brains, obviously, is through your food. Your brain is your control center. I cannot move my hand like this without it first coming here. Everything is going to come here first in the brain. So this controls. So if this right here controls my hand, this also controls my life. So you need the proper nourishment. You need the proper food to be able to think, to be alert, to be clear-minded. And in addition, the reason why I do the videos is I'm separating myself from anybody else on the market, because not only are you going to get the supplements, but we're giving you information with the supplements in addition to free information. Here, this is also what you need to do. You need to clear your brain with these things right here. This is what you need to do. You need to watch these things. You need to do these things. You need to listen to this music. These are all, see, listen, man, let's just cut to the chase. Healing or health and wellness is a simple thing. It's not easy, but it's simple. Sometimes one of our biggest problems, I'm talking about the world, not just people of color, is that we want to just reduce things to one thing. Healing or health and wellness is not just your nutrition. It's so much more beyond that. You can eat good food, but if your spirit is terrible, you're going to be sick. You can have a good spirit, but if you eat terrible food, you're going to be sick. You can eat good food, have a pretty cool spirit, but if you never run or move or get any kind of circulation, you're going to have a problem. You can do all those things, but if you have malice in your heart towards somebody else, it's going to weigh on your heart, because our organs carry feelings. And each organ, if it has a certain feeling for long enough, your heart usually carries that feeling of depression, of broken heart, literally broken heart. People die of broken hearts. Your kidneys carry fear. This is why when people get scared, what do? They urinate on themselves. So you got to understand that all these things are connected. Like me and Rich was speaking yesterday. You cannot think that this one thing right here, this is why people that take medicine for high blood pressure. You think, oh, I'm just taking medicine for my high blood pressure. But on the bottle, it says nausea, vomiting, it says erectile dysfunction, heart palpitations. So you're ruining everything else in the process of keeping your blood pressure straight. This is why pills are never the answer, only for short-term things. And I will admit that they are necessary for short-term. Without a doubt, they are. But the nutrition is always the long ball. That's always the one that's going to bring you over the top.
That's what I like about Dr. Africa. That's why when he released that book, Self-Diagnosis,
yeah,
it made people's lives a bit more easier to understand that you have to become your own doctor. It's only you that knows that when the pain comes and you know where the pain is coming from, and you kind of know where the problem has begun. So able to diagnosing yourself and utilizing with the doctor to knowing what's best for yourself. So as I was saying, with that book, it kind of helps me in many ways.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So as we're saying, like on the other, you said there was 5 supplements. So you mentioned the female one. Is there anything that children can take?
No, not right now. Not starting off. No, they could excuse me. They could take those, but they just would take a lesser dose. Whereas children would just take one. Yeah.
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 Okay. So and we're talking on the future, because at the end of the day, on Black Eyes TV 7, we're about bridging that gap, and we want you to actually come over, and give the people the information and bring the supplements that they need to take and help them out in many ways, and especially when it can be very affordable. So have you got any instincts or any plans that you would like to come over to the UK and talk to the people out here?
Of course, of course. The last time we came, it was cool. You know, we had a ball, but I want to really do the UK. I want Brixton. I want London's, Southeast, everywhere. No, I want all of London.
Yeah,
I want Manchester. I want Birmingham. I want it all. I want all of England. You understand what I'm telling you? I want all of it. I don't want to just come.
Yeah.
I want to be there 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is, where we really getting it in.
Yeah.
And the weather to be good. So I would love to do, London. This is why, we have a pretty decent following, especially on my Facebook. Facebook, we got a lot of people from UK, which is good. So it's constantly growing. So yeah, I love UK. I felt a lot of love. I tell you that. I felt a lot of love there, but I want to really go.
You hear that, people? If you want Cochise, you've got to demand it. And you got to say, you know what? We want you to come over,
Oh, yeah.
And the more you invest in us, we can get people like Cochise to come over and celebrate and enjoy as a family, so we can actually teach and learn from one. And at the same time, he can bring these herbs and these spices to you, and and to make your life much more easier, because we need to be taught a lot of these things before we can actually maneuver. Because if we don't understand most of what's going on out here, how are we going to able to build up a business when you are sick, or you're not healthy, or you're not feeling good? How can we build an economy? How can we have a community? We can't have none of this if our health is not right. Our ancestors are our history and our blueprint, and they've given us this stuff. Yeah, it's for us to able to evolve and use these stuff, like as they say in Ghana, sankofa, taking from the past and bringing it forward. And now we've got the knowledge from Cochise. It's time for us to able to move forward. It's time for us to able to unite. It's time for us to even spend the black pound or dollar amongst ourselves as a community, and stop watching what other ethnic people are doing outside our African diaspora. So, as I was saying, Cochise, give us some few products that someone can work with before you come over. Something that they can use every day. Just a bit of an advice.
Just in general?
And you know what?
Yeah, just in general.
Cochise, let me just interrupt and say as well, before you tell the people about a couple of your products, after you've done that, make the people know where they can get these products at. Yeah, where they can find you. Yeah, and where they can get more information as far as how to use some of the products, what best processes to live by and to enact every day. Yeah, so speak on that after you highlight your products, where to get them, and where the people then can find you exactly.
And don't forget, Cochise, everybody out there, family, Cochise is an author. He's got many different types of books, from mindset to health. Check out the Urban Kryptonite DVDs. Loads of information on there. Check out his books, which he will tell you about his books and where to find his books. Because the more you invest in our own, the bigger the people can become and the louder we can move forward. So, Cochise, fire away.
So in terms of, when you say products, are you talking about products that people just can buy from there, everyday products, or what do you mean?
Yeah, just the everyday products that people can just say, you know what, just start to get into the momentum of things. Because, some people say, you know what, I'm taking this colon, but where do I go next?
I'll keep it simple.
Like the colon cleanser. They will take this and they don't know what to do after.
Okay. Let's just go. Yeah, let's go with that one. So I'll make it simple. one of the things that people have an issue with is multivitamins. Okay, most people, they can't. Now, even when I was in Holland, I lectured in Holland last year for a month. I did Rotterdam a few times, and I did Amsterdam. And what I noticed was that they had an issue getting different products. But the one thing that I do notice should be big in African communities, which you have a decent sized African community there, is moringa. Moringa, you guys should have access to moringa there.
Yeah,
If
we
you
even got one called Moringa Gold.
okay,
Which is the bark, the tree, the leaf, the seed, and the root all blended into one powder, and it comes from Ghana. So yeah, continue.
where it comes from, yeah, African moringa. So if you have access to African moringa to sustain for maintenance, you can do that every day as a multivitamin. Just moringa. That's really all you need. It's got all the vitamin C you need. It's got all the vitamin A you need. It's got all the protein you need. It's got all the antioxidants you need. But if you just felt unsafe and you just said, you know what, I may need something different. The next thing you can do, I don't know if you guys have the sea moss. Do you have access to sea moss or Irish moss?
We have a loads of sea moss over here, especially at the moment. Like I'm getting some imported from Jamaica, which is the Jamaican sea moss.
Okay, so if you have access to sea moss, if you can get sea moss has about 92, 93 minerals in it that you know, and that's unheard of. That's usually unheard of for a plant. But seaweed are a little bit different because they don't rely on the soil to get their nutrition. They're in the water, so it's a big difference. This is why seaweeds are more beneficial. Speaking of seaweeds, you could do spirulina. Spirulina is another one. I don't know if you have access to that over there. That's another one that's loaded.
Got them in packets over
You
here.
said what?
They got them in packets over here.
Yeah, so these are the three things that I would recommend. You could take your choice or you could intermingle them. You could do chlorella. These are just things that I know the work that I've used, that I use, that will help with maintenance, everyday maintenance. If you said, you know what, I'm not into all of this health, super duper cleanses and all that, okay, you can maintain yourself with just these 3 to 4 things right here. You only need one of them. If you have 2, that'd be great. If you have 3, that'd be awesome. If you have 4, that'd be unbelievable. But
So
one,
you combine them all together.
yeah, you could. Well, yeah, I don't know what you have over there, but what I'll be doing is I'll be making products and combining many of these things to make them super capsules, you know?
Yeah. So like, you know, like when you get the sea moss, you get the moringa, and let's say the spirulina. Could I put all 3 together and infuse it? Because, you know, a lot of people, they have a problem with the moringa because of the bitterness. A lot of people, because they come from the school of taste, as I call it, and because they say, oh, it's so bitter, I can't really drink it, and I always say to people, you know what, if you get the powder, you should be able to get one of these little capsule machines and put it into the capsules. But as I said, I try to avoid people from taking capsules because I'm not very too keen with the coatings of these capsules. So if there was an alternative of how to put something together that they can actually take it as an everyday without having that strong bitter taste, is there any way of dealing with it?
Well, I do mine in juice, in my juice. Yeah, I never take it with water, never, no. I do mine in juices. I never do mine with water. So I could see why it would be difficult for them. But I do mine in fresh juices, and the juices that I make or the smoothies, I usually add that in. You can add banana in your smoothie, or I add apple. I do a lot of apple. So I may add that with the green. I usually do the moringa with the green. You know, everything is usually green. So it blends right in, and it's pretty good. And if you just don't want to taste it, take a little bit of apple juice. You could buy it from the store, a little bit of apple juice, and just pour a little bit in there and mix it in with the rest of the stuff. And it'll taste all right. It usually tastes all right.
Okay. And in forms of like exercising, because you know they say about walking or doing some form of exercising. What kind of advice, as in you as being an athlete, what kind of exercises do you reckon, especially as an elderly person, that can't really do much, what kind of exercises could you relay to them?
Do you guys have access to swimming pools?
Yeah, there's swimming pools all around.
Yeah, I think that's the best workout that anybody could do. I used to do that. I used to swim 25 laps. Now I'm not, and people that were 80 years old, they would be in there swimming. What makes the swimming pool, I know people say chlorine, but look, you're living in the matrix. It's going to be some kind of issue somewhere. But at least in a swimming pool, the buoyancy factor protects your joints. And that's what most elderly people have an issue with. So not only does it protect your joints, but it strengthens all the small muscles around your joints. So when you start back walking again, or when you, whatever you're doing, you walking upstairs, whatever, you're going to feel that much more stronger. But if you can swim, if you know how to swim, that's going to expand your lungs and give you strength beyond your years. You're not going to even be able to understand where this strength is coming from. Your back is going to be built up. Your abs are going to be cut. Your arms are going to be cut. To me, swimming is the best exercise in the world, to me. So you don't have to.
If they didn't have access to a swimming pool, what would be the next one, would you say?
Just walking. You don't need to be a marathon runner. You know, I do a lot of body weight stuff. Now I wouldn't expect them to do pull-ups and all that, but if you have a gym, usually those gyms have assisted pull-ups where you can put your knees on this thing and it'll push you to the top, and you could pull, you can pull yourself up. Assisted pull-ups. Even an 80-year-old person could do assisted pull-ups because the weight is going to push you up. You know, you want to do that because that's going to work from the top all the way down here to your lower to mid section. You're going to work all of that. The other thing you could do is push-ups. If you have an issue doing push-ups, get on your knees and do the push-ups. Okay, you don't need it. So you can get on your knees and do the push-ups. You're going to work your shoulders and you're going to work your chest at the same time. The other thing, body squats. I do a lot of body squats. Like tonight, when I go to the gym, I'll do a set of 75 body squats. Now, it seems like a little, but that's a lot, believe it or not. Doing proper body squats, that's what builds up your core, okay? And just basic walking. You can do just walking on a treadmill. You don't have to be Superman or Superwoman. It doesn't take a lot, but you need to move each and every day. Now, if you're jogging, that's great. If you can jog, that would be great. I say 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. I do 30 minutes of running, but I do on the treadmill. I may do the side shuffle on the treadmill. Running backwards, that's the secret to get you to the next level. Jogging backwards, that's what I do also. I jog backwards. I put the treadmill on and I jog backwards. That helps your posture, helps you to stand up straight, builds the quad muscles and builds those calf muscles, builds those lower back muscles. Also helps to strengthen the foot because your feet have to grapple the ground a certain way when you're jogging backwards. So that also helps as well. So you don't need a lot of stuff, but you need activity to promote circulation. You have to have that. Walking the stairs is another one. If you can do that, that would be good. Riding a bike. See, they ride bikes all day, every day in the Netherlands. I thought that was unbelievable when I saw they have bike paths all through the cities. That's their main way of transportation, bikes. So I like that country for that reason. I like the way they had that set up. But these are some of the things that I think are necessary.
Okay, on the aspects of that, right? This just quickly tap into like the women out there, because a lot of women always ask the question about thyroids, and like what kind of supplements would you say for the thyroid glands? Do you know anything about that?
For the thyroid gland, you want to
because I see a lot of women's necks getting swollen and things like that.
Yeah, you want to consume supplements. You want to consume supplements that are high in iodine. Usually iodine is a problem, whether it's hypo or hyper. You want iodine. So what you could do is you could consume supplements that are high in sea vegetables. The sea vegetables that I can think of from the top of my brain are kelp, K-E-L-P, high in iodine. Kelp. Bladderwrack, high in iodine. Spirulina, wakame, chlorella. All these things are going to be beneficial. There's another one that I think dandelion is beneficial too. So all these things are beneficial in terms of the These are 5 to 6 different herbs that you can use, but if the leading ones is bladderwrack, kelp, chlorella, spirulina is also good, but bladderwrack is number 1 in my estimation for absolutely.
Okay.
Sea
So
need those vegetables.
One question I've been asked to ask you, brother. I've had a few different people who are saying they've changed their diet to vegetarian and vegan, but they're having trouble losing their belly weight. Can you speak to that? Like, what could be the problem with that, or the cause and possible ways to lose?
Yeah. One of the things that I've been having a time of my life explaining to people is that just because somebody's a vegan or just because they're a vegetarian, don't mean they're not sick. It don't mean that they can't get sick. And I see some vegans, they look bad, man. Some vegetarians, they look bad. And the reason is because they're starchitarians. That means that all they do is, while they're not eating meat, they're eating the starchy foods. Now, the starchy foods is going to make the blood become pasty and thick. And it's going to make it difficult to travel. And it's also going to collect where? Because that starchy stuff is going to turn, a lot of it is going to turn into sugar. And it's going to collect right around your midsection, right there. Now, I don't know what kind of vegetarians or vegans it is that you're talking about, but many times when you have those issues, losing that weight is because of the amount of starches that you're consuming. Although it's not meat, it's still starch. And anytime you consume those low fiber carbohydrates like rice and you're not doing anything, it sets off the insulin in the body. Now, here's the issue. Where does all that stuff collect? It collects in your midsection. And guess what? The more insulin you produce, insulin regulates fat storage. So that means that if your body has to produce more insulin, you're probably going to gain weight. You're probably going to be bigger. So you want to avoid those foods that cause spikes in your insulin, which are a lot of those carbs. Well, not just carbs, but the starchy foods. How about that? Potatoes.
So that, you would say that would dominantly like the potatoes and the bread, especially the white, that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
That we put that on. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on, Cochise. Sorry to disturb you.
So in addition to that, there's some herbs that you can consume that are known for burning fat. Number 1, Garcinia fruit. Number 2, glucoconine. Those 2 are the leading ones that I know. It's 2 more that I'm drawing a blank on. But these herbs help you to burn fat from those hard, stubborn areas. The other piece that's crucial, believe it or not, man, most people don't drink enough water. The water is the key to flushing. See, the water is going to flush it has to flush the garbage out. How does it flush the garbage out? Every time you urinate, every time you go to the bathroom, it's part of that process. So you want to be drinking water to encourage more urination, which is still waste, but also to encourage more defecation, because the water is going to get to these hard to reach areas that you may not be able to otherwise get to with your food, and it's going to provoke and to start pushing things out of your body. So in addition to those herbs, you need water, fiber. That's the other piece. Fiber-rich foods, pears, bananas, apples being the number 1. These are fiber-rich foods that help, that apples attach themselves. They have an enzyme that attaches itself to stomach fat, and it gets in there and it pulls off that stomach fat. And then when you defecate or whatever, it kind of releases some of that fat. So apples are great. In ancient times, women ate apples before their meals because apples were great at helping people to be full.
Okay. So would you say apple cider vinegar is very good then?
I don't even, you know what? Somebody just asked me that question yesterday. I never really dealt with apple cider vinegar. I
have myself, but
I've never really, I've never really dealt with it. I remember Ali was talking to me about it. Tahuti likes it. My parents, they were doing the apple cider vinegar with ginger and tea. My dad he was doing it with the ginger tea, and it was good. You know, I've heard some good reports about it, but that's just something that I never really got into. I don't even deal with it really.
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak. I don't want to speak just off of. I don't like to speak just off of conjecture, just off of some stuff I see or read. You know.
Okay.
All right. Listen. Just before we start this back line, I want you to just tell the people where they can find you. Yeah, and all the different places they can get some of your products, if you have any informational videos, the books, and then we'll go to Terry because I know he's got a few things to say. And one more question, just on a quick one, in relation to nuts. Yeah, what nuts are good for you?
Okay, let me answer the nuts question first. So there's a lot of different opinions on this thing. Now, if you follow Dr. Sebi diet, there's not a lot of nuts you could eat at all, really, you know. But believe it or not, I pretty much consume mostly everything. And the reason that I do that is because I like Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts, I like them because of the amount of selenium that they have. I like the almonds because of the amount of tryptophan, which is an amino acid necessary for building. I wouldn't go haywire on the cashews because although they're rich, they are said to cause estrogen. Okay, I don't know how true that is, but and Inky will tell you about that. Inky's big on that. He's really big on talking about those cashews. Ali is not a big fan. Ali Muhammad, when I say Ali is not a big fan of peanuts. He doesn't like. I like peanuts. I like peanuts. Peanuts have resveratrol for me. I like them. They keep me strong. You know, But here's the. Let's cut to the chase. The issue with the nuts that have a lot of saturated fat, number one being cashews, is because what you're doing is you're clogging arteries. Now I know nuts are safe, but the problem is that when you have issues with your heart, a lot of that has to do with saturated fats, clogging arteries. So if I had to just say which nuts are the healthiest nuts, number one on my list is going to be pumpkin seeds, raw pumpkin seeds, because they have the zinc, especially for men. They have zinc, they have protein. I also like raw sunflower seeds. Remember, we're people of the sun. That sunflower is big. If you're consuming a sunflower, then that means that you're getting some kind of sun in you. As long as they're not, you can do it if they're roasted and all that, but obviously the nutrition is not going to be the same. Walnuts. Walnuts are critical because walnuts have the omega-3 in it. Our diets, we don't get enough omega-3 in the diet. We usually get omega-6 because of the amount of creams, butters, and fats. When you have too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3, you get heart problems. So you want to get that omega-3 up. You can do the chia seeds as well to get your omega-3 up. For the plants, you can do evening primrose. You can do black currant seed. You can do kiwi seed. You can do pumpkin seed. So these are all forms of omega-3. Pecans okay, but pecans have a little bit of saturated fat. They have excessive saturated fat. Don't go too haywire with the cashews. Almonds they're like right in between, in my estimation. Pistachios, they're okay. Brazil nuts, they're cool. I wouldn't go too haywire on those either. So I will put the pumpkin seed at the top, walnuts at the top, sunflowers at the top. As far as just to answer to where can I be found? All of my social media is at Cochise Tarak-saa. COCHISE Cochise Tarak-saa. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. On Facebook, I'm dropping YouTube as well. This is Cochise on YouTube. Website, thisiscochise.com. So I'm dropping videos every day, maybe sometimes 2, 3, sometimes 4 a day. Usually on Instagram, you get the shorter videos, but on Facebook and YouTube, you get the, if it's a 10-minute video, you get the full video. And, just because of compliance issues, Facebook or Instagram only allows a certain amount. So all in all, my books can be found at thisiscochise.com or Amazon. That's the easiest route. You can go Amazon. You can find all of my books. I've got about 6 books on Amazon. You can order Urban Kryptonite, the documentary, 4 hours, that speaks to the mystifying quandaries of the people of color, so-called African Americans, African diasporans, African people in the UK, African French, whatever you want to call them. We're everywhere, and we all have similar issues relating to the diet. So that's what that documentary is about. 4 hours, the longest documentary on health, 4 hours. So we're giving you a lot of information. You can get that from www.urbankryptonitefilms.com. Make sure you follow me at Cochise Tarak-saa. My brand for athletic or, just everyday performance gear, Fitman, you can find that at thisiscochise.com. Click on store. We've got the vitamins coming, herbs of Cochise. All these things will be updated. We should be ready in about 2 to 3 weeks. So we got books, we've got t-shirts, we've got documentary films, and you know what? I think I will be offering Full Body Detox, the documentary. That's our other documentary that myself, Saladin, and Cochise, not Cochise, and Tahuti, that we did together. So I just hadn't been offering it because it, for you to, I've been putting all my energy on the Urban Kryptonite, but now it's time to bring in that detoxing piece. It's been just sitting on the shelf. I haven't even really been pushing that. So that's me, man. You can find me at Cochise Tarak-saa, and I'll be out pumping out heat every day, as I'm doing, until you guys bring me to the UK. I got a couple of dates coming up. I got Toronto, I got Chicago. If anybody's listening to this in the United States, Toronto on June 25th, Detroit on June 3rd, Detroit on June 10th, so Toronto on the 25th, Chicago on the 14th, 15th of July. Looks like Houston, Texas will be a reality, and potentially New Jersey. So June and July will be pretty packed for me. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe August, UK. I don't know. Something. We got to get something going. We got to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We got to do something big. But August is my season time, and it's the best time when everyone's out in the sun. So if we could arrange something, hopefully we can get you on.
Got you. No doubt.
So we'll see how the people react to the whole thing. But we got to get you back on the same platform, and we've got to talk about some more information and more stuff, what we can do and how we can bridge that gap from the UK to the US, and all the way back to Dominica. So in that format, we can look at dates and times and try to negotiate what kind of events that we can try to do. And not that is to try and bring others as well, as not just you on your own, just get people to be introduced. Not like how you did the Urban Kryptonite, because people enjoy to see more people coming over and working with us. So I don't know what type of people that you can bring an insight that we can bring to the plate, Cochise.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been pretty much doing it on the solo for right now. I don't know, I'm not sure. Yeah. Because it's a lot to put out this to put out the content and run the business. It's a lot, man. I'm always just so focused on putting out.
Because you've been hard working.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. And this is why the UK need to open their eyes and see what kind of work that you do and the hard work that you put in. Because people don't see the forefront of all that, but what happens behind the scenes and how much things that you have to pull strings and things like that. So, we do appreciate you and we do want you to come to the UK. So we're going to find all means, especially the New Beginnings, as what it's doing today. is to try to pull everybody together into making us one unit and making us one big family, so that we can maneuver around Europe, in Africa, and in the United States. So vice versa. So where we can come over and come and see you where you are at, you know?
No doubt. Yes, sir.
You know? But Rich, is there anything that you would like to ask or like to say?
No, I mean, at this point, I'm good. I want you, though, Terry, to tell the people where they can find you, New Beginnings, HKTH, Knowledge and Travels. Give them the update on that before I sign out on this show. Again, thank
Yeah.
you to Cochise Tarak-saa for all the information. We're definitely going to have you on again. When the video goes up after this show, we'll make sure that we got all your contact details at the bottom of the video so people know where to get you. But yeah, Terry, MrRiggs, tell them where
Okay.
to find
So
you.
let me break it down to you people out there. This is our first show that we're doing live, right? There's going to be many more. We're going to have many more scholars. We're going to have many more people. We want to work and understand to find forms of solutions, even though the solutions are already there. As Marcus Garvey has given us, he's given us the pathway. He's given us the light, but we've left it alone to gather dust, as we always do. We need to work together because we need to stop looking at the small pictures and look at the big pictures of life. And this is what New Beginnings is about. New Beginnings is getting collective of people, businesses, and all sorts to come together as one, so that we can able to be economically strong, so we can make an economical environment for our community, able for us to able to buy land, for us to able to build schools, for us to able to do events, have our own market, like how we had the Moorish Bazaar, which it was a massive market, working with the youth, which we have a correspondence where we are growing a few youngsters that are coming up, which are called the People's Voices, and the People's Verses, sorry. And the People's Verses are going to work in forms of finance, in forms of law, and they're going to be working solely with the youths and trying to bridge that gap from the elders and the youngsters, because we need to build that bridge closer. The New Beginnings has another entity, which we called Ozin Holistic Health and Services, is able to bring all things of products, even to like Cochise's products, which we will be having an app. And you see, this app will able to deliver the products to your doorstep. And then on the second part of it, it has a form of services. So we will have trained people to able to advise you on what kind of products to take, as well as that if you help us in certain situations, we can actually move forward and create events. Events will be our market, so that we can actually provide the products. So when you hear the lectures of like people like Cochise giving you a lecture, you will have the market where you can actually get these products. So we need as much businesses to come and get involved. We need much other people to get involved. Even if you don't have nothing, just coming to help out and talking about your life, giving us your testimony, is something for us to able to move forward. So look out for the Ozin, because that app is going to be helping all different types of businesses. It's going to be like a market app. So you can go and buy your products on there. And the good thing about this app is that it can help the youth to create a business. This business out there now, we're now able for them to have things of products, fashion, things of music, things of electrical stuff, which can be on this app. They can collect it together and able to even create their own shop from their own household. They can have a website and sell these products. They can have a shop and sell these products. And they can actually go and do direct delivery, because the app is going to be controlled like as what we have over here, like the Uber system, or you could call it the Deliveroo system. So it's something that we're trying to develop, and it's almost finished in that develop. Then we have things of forms of fashion. We're going to have loads of different types of clothing, with different types of blazers, because we have to look the part. It's key for us to able to look the part. It's not about putting dark glasses on your head and putting hoodies over your face. It's about looking bright. We should stop wearing the dark clothes and start wearing the bright clothes. Start wearing all this, the designers that we have in-house. Stop buying outside our house. So these are the kind of things that we're trying to do. And if you look carefully, you're going to see us, right? We're going to be going through different types of events. As I spoke earlier, we're going to be helping the people of love and unity who are trying to get Queen Afua into the event, which they've called me and my people and my whole group to help in organizing the event in the forms of promotion and advertisement. So we are going to be talking for people to come down on the 14th to come and talk to us and give us our solutions. And if you can't give us solutions on that, give us the comments on Black Eyes TV. Tell us what you want, what the community wants, because you are the voice. Without you lot, we are nothing. So we need to work together as a form of unity. So come down on the 14th at the Tabernacle, Labber Grove, right? From early in the morning to late in the evening. You're going to have Queen Afua. You're going to have Ali the Great, her son. You're going to have different speakers like Stephen Sally. You're going to have fun, designs, everything. Then we've got another event, which is the African Liberation Day, which is going to be on the 28th and 29th of May. Now, this is going to be in Birmingham, but if you stay post, you will get these kind of information. You just check me up on Terry MrRiggs Facebook. I'm on there. Anything that is going on, I will promote. Or you hear from the People's Verses. Check them out on Facebook, check them out on Instagram, or check me out on Instagram. If you go on Instagram, go to HKTH. And repeat, HKTHOLA on Instagram. Check out my pictures. You'll get the information on what's going on. Check me on the Facebook. And if you can, share this video. Share the videos, watch the videos, share it with your family, share it with your cousins, share it with around the world, because this is a movement that is going to be a storm. If you don't get on our train behind to watch and lose out on what information we need to give to you. So please subscribe to Black Eyes TV 7, share the links, check out for the People's Voices, check out the debates on Titans TV, check out all our events, look out for us. Or if you need help and you have events, we are here to come and help you. If you need help in forms of law or accounts or finances, we are the center point of information. Help us grow. It is a new beginning, and it's a new force to reckon with. Watch out for us. Peace.
All right, people. Big up, big up, big up. Thank you again to my co-host, Terry Riggs. Thank you to Cochise. This is Black Eyes TV, bringing this media thing, this black media paradigm to everybody. Yeah, I want to take a moment to big up my fellow media spots. Got Kush TV, HMP TV. Big up to my brethren Calamel on Talk with the Titans. Yeah, these are all different platforms that are trying to do the same thing, impart information to our people. So please support them, check them out, as well as support and check out the other videos on Black Eyes TV. As my friend Terry Riggs has already told you, many different events coming up, many different live streams. We will tighten up the ship. This is the first one, But thank you for tuning in and supporting the plate. Yeah, big up every time. This is a Black Eyes TV production. You know what?
Bless up, stay strong. Your health is your wealth, and drink your greens. This is Terry Riggs and out.